meet your faculty advisor. So just for a little bit of background information, historically every fall, ALAC runs the campus-wide Meet Your Advisor Day. You might have had friends in other majors who had that this fall. And for engineering, first of all, we're the only school where you have a hub advisor as your primary for the first year. So A, our model's a little different, and B, since you transition to your faculty advisor as sophomores, we wanted to try to A, get you to meet a little closer to the time where you would start meeting with your faculty advisor, and B, the old presentations are always like in the front of the classroom, think like you were in all those sessions at orientation, and so we wanted to bring it into our lounge, bring you snacks, and try to make it a little more fun. So I'll just run through a couple quick things, but then you can just talk to your faculty advisor, everyone will have the chance to ask some questions. So, just run through a couple quick dates for this semester. Wanted to make everyone aware that the drop deadline for any classes is going to be March 6th. So if there's something that you want to drop, make sure you do so by then because it will not show up on your transcript. You'll still be able to drop it on SIS. So if this is something you're thinking about, definitely let me know because some classes you can drop with little to no consequence, but some will be prerequisites for other classes. So again, if it's something you want to do, option for another couple of weeks, just let me know. Then another thing you can do is something called pass no credit. So some of us, I know we've talked about it, but basically for free electives and in some cases your Haas courses are eligible for pass no credit. So if you want to do that, basically if you pass the course, you get the 4 credits, but it's GPA neutral. Whatever letter grade you get, doesn't matter. GPA won't go up or down. And if you fail the course, instead of an F, you would get an NC, which means you don't get the credit, but you also experience no negative GPA impact. So if that's something you want, we have all the way till April 10th to get that done. So it's just filling out a form. So again, come visit me, but just want to put that on your radar. And then also for anyone who I haven't met with yet this semester, every spring you're going to have what's called a SAM hold, which stands for Student Advisor Meeting. So basically that's RPI's way of ensuring that at least once a year you're checking in with an advisor, making sure you know your graduation requirements and that everything is on track. So if you haven't met with me yet this spring, then make sure that you do so either this month or sometime in March. Registration is going to open on March 23rd, so you want to make sure that we've met and your hold is cleared by then. When you come to meet with me for your SAM meeting, I also want you to come prepared with an attempt at a 4-year plan. It is okay if it's messy, it's okay if you're not sure what you want to do for like half of your electives. Basically, we just want to see that you have a general sense of what you need to accomplish over your 4 years. So those are the important dates. And then last part that I'll just talk about is kind of what's the difference between a hub advisor and a faculty advisor. So obviously you've all been meeting with me this year. So the hub is here to kind of lay the groundwork in the logistics. So helping you figure out what your HOS requirements are, helping you work through your template, see what options could be regarding minors and things like that. So when it comes to the academic logistics, that's really our wheelhouse here. And our goal is to teach you all of that in your first year and get your 4-year plan set up so that when you go to your wonderful faculty advisor, you can talk about things a lot more specific to your major. Because as much as I may know the names of your classes and their prereqs, I wasn't a materials engineer. So in terms of what classes are going to best fit my interests as I go along, discover what those are. Where are good places to research based on this interest? Where can I go for internships? That's going to definitely be great questions to talk about with your faculty advisor. So hopefully by laying our groundwork in the hub, then you'll be ready to use a lot of your time in your faculty advising meetings to go over those higher order types of questions. So with that being said, my piece is over, so I will let your advisor introduce himself, tell you a little about him, and then we'll have time for questions after.
So hi everyone, I'm Ravi Shankar Sundararaman, or Shankar for short. I think we had a session in MRC in fall, so we just made sure that we introduced ourselves to the students then itself. So in any case, I would just point out that if you just Google my name, my group website would come up and all my contact information is there. That's probably going to be the easiest way. And I post my office hours for any given semester. I keep it up to date on the website. So if you have any question about when, you can just sort of drop in unannounced, that works. Even otherwise, my office is usually open. So if I'm there, you can stop in and chat. So it shouldn't really be difficult to get a hold of me. And I think any specifics with respect to materials, courses, and selection, we talked about it briefly in the fall. There are only a couple of things that you need to watch out for, and none of those apply for registration right now. These are considerations that will come up as you think about the ARCH next summer. So all of those things we'll talk about in much more detail on either one-on-one or in other sessions like this. So I'll just leave it fairly open for now. We don't really have anything specific to get into materials-wise.
Awesome. And then in the fall, did you get to tell them a bit about what research you've done or what courses you've taught on campus?
No, I have not. So I can say. So some of you are in my materials introduction class, so you know I teach that, which is of course the sort of flagship material science for engineers course that everyone is taking. So all of you must be taking 1600 now, right? Or have already taken it. Yeah. So that's one of the courses I teach. My work is primarily in computational materials science, so I use large supercomputers like the new shiny one that RPI just got, which is built all out of graphics processing units. It's amazing. So we completely simulate materials, sort of virtually build up materials on computers, and primarily think about how electronic transport would happen through these materials. So we think about materials for computers, both the types of current classical computers and future quantum computers that some of you may have heard about. So that's where my research interests primarily lie. The other course I teach other than 1600 is the graduate electronic properties course. This is really a physics-based material science course where we teach our graduate students how to think about material science from the point of view of bonding and the quantum mechanics of electrons and atoms. You will learn a little bit of that in the undergraduate electronic properties course too, but just an advertisement. As you're going up to your senior year, that's the course you might want to think about taking as an elective. That would add a lot more to what you have in your undergraduate. Yeah.
Awesome. So do any of you have questions for either myself or Shankar about anything, whether it's advising, research, anything like that? Well, I have a question for you all. So I know personally, I'm 25, and I didn't know until I got to RPI what materials engineering even was. So how did some of you all come to figure out what it was so early on?
I'll ask an auxiliary question. Are any of you so enthusiastic about material science you're asking other people to come join us? Come convert the undeclared engineers into material science. Because then you know why you're doing material science. Yeah.
Yeah, so can I get at least 3 people to tell me why they knew about materials early on? I know I've met with a bunch of you, don't make me pick names. All right. Okay.
I think my uncle started working for a material science startup group.
Okay.
So then he got me kind of interested in that. So I chose to do that here.
Awesome. How'd some other people get into it? Sure.
One of my neighbors back home, he was a materials engineer. I didn't know that right away until I was probably a junior or senior in high school. And he's only like 25, 26, and he was able to buy a house for himself.
Nice. That's a good start.
It's a pretty good indicator for me.
On that note, if you hang out in the MRC lounge, there's a poster there that sort of shows the starting salaries for all the people who go out of SoE. Material science is one of the higher up in the list, so I don't know if you've seen those statistics. Yeah.
How about one more? This is one of my parents' friends. He's majoring in material engineering, and I lived with him last summer for quite a month. So we just talked all about this.
Cool. So it seems like a lot of it was just, and as he said, converting people. So the department has joked with me before that I get $25 for everyone to convert to materials. So kickbacks. But, so just to make sure, so going forward, is the best way for the students to reach out to you next year via email if they want to make appointments?
Yeah. Awesome. Email, or if you happen to be in MRC, you can just drop in and ask.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? It sounds like you guys got to do a bit of this in the fall, which is awesome.
So what should we be doing now, like with our schedule for next semester? Should we already be trying to see exactly what it's going to look like before we meet with you?
Good question. So I would say before we meet for the spring, have a rough attempt at the 4-year plan. So You guys should have gotten an email about that. I believe it was in December, but in case you can't find it, on the Hub website, if you Google RPI SoE Hub, you'll find it. There's going to be a link on the right sidebar for 4-year plan where there's going to be Excel spreadsheets for every major. So if you just click Class of 2023 and go to the Materials tab, that'll be the generic template, like the one I've handed out in our meetings. So you can start kind of moving that around, to kind of reflect what credits you've already brought in, what classes you've already taken, your spring semester, and then just come in with a general idea for the fall. So I don't think YACS is going to be up for another couple of weeks. They haven't posted the fall schedule officially yet. So you don't have to like have it down to that level of detail, but just have a rough outline of what you're planning to do. And then again, like no pressure to like know exactly what free electives or exactly what materials electives you need or you're planning to take, because I absolutely don't expect that you would know that by now. More just to make sure we've captured all the credits and the logistics to make sure that there are no surprises, nothing missing. Good question.
There's a class specific for materials, like is it uncertainties that you guys were having us take over Arch?
Yes.
If you're not able to take, like, if you're not going to be able to do the Arch over that summer, is that a big deal?
No, if you're exempt from the Arch and you're going to need to do modeling and analysis of uncertainty at some other time, you can register for it. Just check with us once and confirm that plan. Specifically, if you're not going to do Arch, make sure you talk to me before you start planning around that. Right? Because there are a couple of other things. There's also strength of materials that we want you to take at a particular time. So we talk about that. So yeah, that was the one material specific thing which I guess you also got related to, right? That we would prefer that you take the modeling and analysis of uncertainty course in the Arch rather than in any semester before, because we offer a materials flavored section of that. But essentially the content is still interchangeable, so you can take that course at another time. It's just that we advise you to take the materials version. And that also is not, it's still a generic MAU course. Other departments can also take that course. It's just we switched around the examples and so on, which is to make it hopefully more interesting to the materials engineers, because otherwise the default course has everything sort of more with a biomedical and medical statistics kind of field. So we kind of switched out the examples with more materials-based ones.
Any other questions, guys?
If we're considering a minor now, would you recommend us declaring as early as possible, or wait until we're more sure about it?
That's a really good question. So 99 times out of 100, I would say wait on declaring, and the reason is the form is dumb. So actually, let me see if we have some in the drawer. 1 second. Perfect. Okay. So I'll kind of like walk around so you all see a little closer. But if you are planning to declare a minor, this is the form. And the way it works is you have to write out the full plan of study you're planning on taking. So like each class, and you have to put what semester. So like you can kind of see on here. Now the reason this form is dumb and the reason we tell you to wait is that let's say you want to be an economics minor where there are tons of courses offered every semester. They often will change them. So let's say you go, okay, I took Intro to Econ my first year. I'm going to take Money and Banking fall of sophomore year. But then when you go to schedule, you realize like, oh no, Money and Banking is at the same time as Materials 2100. I obviously have to prioritize that. Well, if you take every class you put on this form, but change the semester that you take one of the classes, you have to submit the form all over again. So basically, the only time I really recommend doing it on the front end is in the very rare case that the minor you're doing is a department that restricts their courses based on whether or not you're registered in the major. So this is like very limited, like maybe just electronic arts really. So for 99 out of 100 cases, we often just tell you to submit it at the end. That way you know what semesters you took them and won't have any issues changing it. But really good question. Anything else? All right. So, as you guys have all seen, we have tons of snacks. So from here, the formal portion's over, but obviously we'll hang out here for a bit. So if you want to come up, chat, ask any other more personal questions, more than welcome. But again, thank you for being the major with the best attendance, keeping up the good materials reputation.
And just one quick thing, I've heard from the core engineering office today that the registrar says that the fall classes are going to be live on Monday. So I'm hoping that like Monday, when you're all up and hopefully having fun and not worrying about your schedule, that the actual dates and times for the classes will be up as they have promised today.
Yes. please do something more fun than playing Yaks on Monday. All right, thank you guys, and thank you so much for coming and hanging out with all of us here.
Thanks for organizing this.
Of course.